One of the things that is new in our lives, thanks to the internet, is the running into of trolls or people who are just negative and obnoxious and will, depending on what site you're on, leave a post or comment or even send you direct email that's obnoxious and abrasive. And what that tends to do is to create an instinctive response of, getting them back, showing them. And that is exactly what they're looking for, because these people, and I've done it myself too, it's about putting your personal frustrations out there in an anonymous way that is going to attempt to strengthen your ego and hurt another person and gain power by being rude or mean or cruel. And people, because a lot of them aren't really dealing with their issues in their real life, the internet is a way to do this in a way that doesn't have a lot of risk involved as it would in your real life. So I've found that the best way to deal with this kind of thing is to simply ignore it, because if somebody is being obnoxious, then what they want is a response so that they can engage back and forth and act out a kind of symbolic argument or conflict that they may have had in the past or would like to have with somebody in their life currently, in which they win when you engage, because it doesn't matter if you respond in a rational way or an obnoxious way, that you're going to give them something to feed upon. And that's exactly what you don't want to do with ego, is give it something to feed upon. The way you can't ever eliminate obnoxiousness on the internet, because even if people don't get responses, they'll still use it as a release for their frustration. But you can lessen the amount of it by just ignoring it. That's the way that I think things are going to go as time progresses, is that people are going to get less energy, because people are going to, the ones that are receiving their obnoxiousness are just going to realize it doesn't pay off in the long run to engage with that kind of thing. And I've found that what lingers on for me is sometimes wanting to take an opportunity such as receiving negative reflection as an opportunity to teach somebody something. And I found that doesn't really work either. I had an experience, I was playing an online card game called Euchre, and you rely on your partner, and so a lot of times your partner can get upset if you do something that doesn't result in a point or results in losing points. And I played another card game recently, Texas Hold'em Poker, where people don't care what other people do because you don't have a partner, and so if they do things that don't work out, that benefits you. But in this game, Euchre, where you have a partner, people can get really upset rather frequently. And, maybe 1 in 20 games or something that you play, you'll see this kind of thing, and it really slows down the game. And this happened with me, and I wanted to take the opportunity in my annoyance with my partner who was being rude to me to try to teach him about how he was being passive aggressive, because he didn't want to own how he was being obnoxious. He was just saying. But it just slowed down the game, and it just didn't go anywhere. And when somebody is being abrasive, it's really not the best time to teach them anything, because they're in ego mode and they're just going to take whatever you say and own it. And life will give them the lessons that they need. You don't have to take that responsibility to awaken people. That's one thing that I've learned. It's better to just ignore them and continue the game. So I had this experience after that where within the next day I started having this pain behind my lower teeth, and it was kind of felt like I had something wedged between my teeth, but I flossed and flossed, couldn't get it out, and it just felt irritating. And a lot of times I look at the body as a barometer that tells us something. And I thought, okay, the symbolism of that happening after that exchange and me getting wrapped up in this other person's ego has to do with the mouth, has to do with communication. And so I need to let go of that. And one thing that I found useful sometimes, if I feel like I'm in that fight or flight mode and just want to be reactive, I can type something out and then just delete it. You know, it's a way of releasing so I don't suppress it. And eventually I'll be aware enough to the point where it's like I'll just observe it and not feel reactive at all. But for the most part, I think it's good to ignore these things. And also, I've found it's not useful to tell the story of the obnoxious person. I mean, there may be times where you really find yourself affected by some obnoxious person that you ran into on the internet or whatever, and you need to process it with somebody to help you let it go. But there can also be a tendency towards wanting to tell the story because it has the elements of a good drama. It has conflict and there's right and wrong, good and bad. And so telling that story can be a way of getting attention. But the problem with that is that what we focus upon tends to manifest more in our life. So if that is one of the ways that we get attention or entertain people through stories of things that are aggressive and abrasive, then that can actually, I think, attract more of those experiences as opposed to just witnessing them for what they are, which is ego, and letting it go. Because there is ego in the world, and you know, we would prefer that there wasn't. We would prefer that there wasn't within ourselves and within others, but there is. So I believe that it's best to just try to not give it any energy, and so it won't feed upon the energy that it receives. It'll starve because it's not getting what it wants, which is attention and an opportunity to act out.